Hello and welcome from Cape Town, South Africa. Now, one of the things I'm often asked about is why do people avoid cold calling? And quite simply, one of the reasons that cold calling is avoided or put off is simply a fear from the individual making it, worrying about what might happen when someone else picks the phone up. And one of the fears and the reticence to do it belongs to our role for instant gratification. Particularly now, we've got used to being gratified instantly when we want something. So for example, we want to download music, for example, MP3s, and we've got the pain of paying for it. That comes pretty much straight away. And then the download comes pretty quickly afterwards. So the pain comes pretty much straight away. The download comes almost entirely straight away afterwards. Challenge with that is it encourages us that when we go through a bit of pain, we get rewarded, we get pleasure instantly. Same when it comes to downloading movies. These days we pay for it, we download it straight away. Unless you're somewhere like South Africa, and particularly Cape Town, where it might take a bit longer. But generally speaking, the pain of paying for it is pretty instant, and then the pleasure of downloading it and watching it is pretty instant as well. The challenge when it comes to cold calling, however, is that the pain of doing it and the pain of rejection can come pretty much straight away. The challenge is, when does the pleasure come? Well, it might be a month afterwards, 3 months afterwards, 6 months, a year, possibly never. And that's a challenge, and why so many people avoid it, because they're concerned about what might happen if, and they don't get the gratification that they're looking for fast enough. So they'll say things like, well, cold calling just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work in my industry. It just doesn't work for my company. Rubbish. Cold calling works for pretty much anybody. I've not met anybody yet that couldn't generate business from a cold call. And whatever industry you're in, I can guarantee you I've got a client that I've worked with in that industry that's using it to generate results right now. So the question is, how do we get it to work for you? And that means there's got to be some sort of payoff. So these days, cold calling has evolved a little bit. If we're still kind of talking to somebody and making a call like, can I speak to the person responsible for, we really need to give the 1970s our sales techniques back. Things have moved on quite a lot since then. What we need to be doing now is not actually cold calling to make a sale, as we would have done traditionally, but we want to cold call now to try and get some sort of next step or some sort of result. So what I really want to achieve is, how do I move this call forward so that it isn't a cold call next time? How do I get a defined next step, like a conference call, or perhaps even like a web demo, or even a web meeting these days? Something where I've got to move the call forward rather than go backwards in my sales process or nowhere. Remember, a cold call should only be a cold call the first time. Good luck with your cold calling.